Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Sigval here and welcome back to our video. Since the news story is going to be most likely dropping today, we're going to take another look at the artifacts. Now we got the official sheet with the artifacts that you can't really get because most of them are kind of be pay to win, but we also have the free artifact, which is pretty interesting. As far as the data mining goes, people have been able to find out that the Trinity Rings are going to be the free artifacts, so we're going to talk about that as well. But yeah, let's start from top to bottom and talk about them again. I'm gonna try to go a bit more in depth than I went in the video when I summarized the whole soul rate as well. But yeah, first of all, the sharp Scythe. Special 2 and special trait can interrupt the opponent's specials, which will cost only 1 power bar. Interrupting specials deal 210% more damage. Every special interrupted Every successful interrupted special that you do is going to increase your damage by 100%, and that stacks up to 4 times, and it's going to have the maximum bonuses for the soul rate. So the artifact that you're going to get for free is going to have by default the maximum passive stats for that soul rate, so it's going to be either one of those two. So again, it's most likely going to be the Trinity Rings. But back to sharp Scythe. So first of all, the fact that you're going to get up to 400% at level 10 damage by interrupting specials is going to be good. Now we already have the Crown of Conduct, who gives you a damage buff, and it's going to be better in that regard specifically. It also gives you a power refund, so if it only had this passive over here, the 400% damage increase, not bad, but we simply have an artifact that fulfills that purpose already. Being able to interrupt opponent specials as a thing, which only costs 1 power bar, is not the most useful thing in the world because your goal is to kind of lock the enemy into kind of an infinite combo or into a situation where they're not gonna really use specials. But again, we never had the possibility to interrupt the special and simply use a third special at the power cost of only 1 power bar, so this might be better than I'm anticipating. And the damage on interrupted specials being increased is not that great because it requires too much of a specific setup. So if you want to do a lot of damage with the special, you want to have a high combo, right? You build your high combo, you're waiting to do that special, and you're going to then wait for the enemy to do a special. In the time frame where you're waiting for the enemy to do a special, at any point they might back off out of your range, or they might do a swipe down which breaks your combo. So it's simply not that great. And also damage on specials, as we have seen, because this is a bonus you can apply on the artifact rolls or artifact bonuses. The special damage is not the greatest thing in the world, so the second part of this seems very unoptimal and something that you're very unlikely to use, but at the same time the first part might be something that's better than I think. But overall, the only short thing we have is 400% damage increase, which is good. You're most likely going to be able to get this pretty fast, but at the same time, it's going to be overall maybe less effective than Crown. Now moving on to the Trinity Rings. Again, I'm going to read the whole thing. It's going to have the highest passive stats alongside with the Scythe. And it's going to spawns the Trinity Hazard with 250% of the wearer's attack for 8 seconds on every 7 successful basic attack hits or swipe attacks. Increase the wearer's power generation and reduce the opponent's by 50%. And you're going to be able to activate this hazard 4 times. At the same time. This can be activated up to 4 times. Hazard damage over time immunity. So the hazard damage over time things are going to be the things on the ground. Bro, I just said that I'm going to read the whole thing, but yeah, let's keep reading. 30% damage for each created hazard in the bell up to 12 times. So not each active hazard, each hazard in total. And you're going to get some power bursts whenever a hazard expires. Now, before we get into anything about this thing, this is a hazard, right? Do we like doing hazards on the opponent? No, we hate doing hazards on the opponent because hazards, and the best example I can give of a hazard is going to be the Atlantean Armor Commons Special 2, are going to make the enemy spam jump attack. Them spamming jump attack is also going to make them most likely do a special, because that's a way when the opponent feels comfortable doing a special after a jump attack. So actually doing hazards on the opponents is going to lead to some very, very awful gameplay. If you remember Battle Underground before she got updated and before she started dealing damage, her hazard was making the opponent spam jump attack. So if this is the same thing yet again, no matter how good the damage side of thing is, this is not gonna be a good artifact, because to activate the damage part of it, you're going to need to do successful basic attack hits and swipe attacks. And yet again, the opponent spamming jump attacks and specials because of this thing existing is not the best situation in which you're going to be able to hit them, actually. So yet again, the whole utility of this artifact hangs in the balance of if the opponent is going to spam jump attack when they're in this hazard or not. But let's assume they don't spam jump attack. It says it's going to have 250% of the wearer's attack stats. Now, yet again, if this is the attack stat, like the total attack stat of yourself, it's good. But if it's the base attack, it's bad. And I know it says attack, total attack. By the way it's written here, we should assume that is the total attack. In a sense, how the Battle Underground passive works when she puts up her hazard throughout the entire map. But again, they are known to kind of lie about those values, maybe not even on purpose, but simply mistyping them because they don't really know that well about how their game works. 7 successful basic attack hits and swipes is not really high demand, again, if the enemy doesn't spam jump attack to spawn this, and I'm wondering if this is going to stack with fast attack hits. For example, you hit the fast attack chance on like Justin Flash, who's got 4 fast attack hits, and you're going to only need 2 hits to activate this. That's also a question that we'll only find when we get this artifact into the game. And you're going to get a power generation increase. You're going to be generating power like crazy when you have this fully stacked, but it's not going to be necessarily the most useful thing, though it might be, because if the enemy is going to spam jump attack, you have Kimflan Sakuman, right? And Kimflan Sakuman can lock the opponent into an infinite combo by spamming third special and keep hitting them. The only problem is you can't do that endlessly, because you're going to run out of power. But if the enemy spam jumps attack, this power generation might be able to circumvent this a bit for characters that can lock the enemy into a perpetual combo by using specials, because you might get enough power to actually spam those specials throughout the entirety of the battle. We'll see how that goes. But this should work on King even if the enemy keeps spamming jump attack. Hazard damage is good. It's gonna be useful in fights that have hazards on the ground, but it's a good thing. If this did not exist, this artifact would be a bit worse, so I'm glad it's there. And you're going to get some more hazard damage for each hazard you create. And this is going to stack up pretty fast, considering that you're going to be able to spam hazards only by doing basic hits. Though it doesn't really say how much a hazard is going to have the duration. Oh, 8 seconds. 8 seconds, actually. And since this is not written in a yellow number, it means that it's most likely going to be the same thing for level 1. So in that way, you're going to get kind of the same efficiency out of this artifact at level 1, but you're going to get less damage. So I don't think you can spam new hazards if there's already 4 in the battlefield, so it will take a bit to get to the maximum 12 stacks simply because you can't spam new ones. But the damage increase might be insanely good. And you're also gonna get power bars whenever a hazard expires, yet again fitting into that power generation. So even if the enemy spams jump attacks, Kimflan Sakuman will most likely be able to use this. Heartbreak Harley Quinn will use this very well, though I'm not sure if better than other artifacts that she has. Basically, any character in the game that's already a good damage dealer and can make the enemy in one way or another, even if at the high cost of power generation, just stuck in place, not able to do anything. But again, we'll see how it goes. This looks very good. If the values are not lying to us, even if the enemy spams jump attack, most likely it's going to be better, good on King and good on Harley. Maybe on Last Up Joker as well. There's a lot of characters that can continue a combo after a special. But yeah, we can only wait and see. But this thing looks very promising. This should be a very, very good free to get artifact. And I really like the fact that even though the rest of this shit is pay to win, you're not really missing out on much because this is the best one. It was the same case with the Kandak artifacts and with the Mr. Free Soul Rate artifacts. Particle Accelerator. Blocked attacks increase the wearer's combo by 3. Not the best thing. We've seen this on Warrior Queen Wonder Woman. Not Warrior Queen, the Golden Armor Wonder Woman. It's gonna be situationally useful because you're gonna block from time to time. You're not gonna go out of your way to trigger this, but this is just gonna happen without you doing anything. It's not gonna be much, but it's something. Every 7 word successful basic attack hits or swipes provokes an explosion that yields the opponent 230% of the word's attack set as damage. I don't know about this one. I'm not sure this is gonna be the best thing. The last time we saw the explosion type of thing was with Primal Swamp Thing, and it was also based on the attack of Swamp Thing, and that value did not do that much, and it had far more modifiers than this, so I'm not sure about the Particle Accelerator, but yet again, might be better than I expect. 80% chance to inflict Power Drain. Inflict Power Drain immunity for 10 seconds after an explosion. Okay, you can inflict Power Drain immunity. That's, I don't really care. Yeah, this is kind of a weird artifact. Most likely it will be a worse version of the Trinity Rings, but let's move on. Anti-Living Seeds. Each successful special inflicts silence for 20 seconds. Opponents can't inflict buffs on themselves or debuffs on the opponent. This might be something that's catered to counter the enemy final boss, which is going to be Robin King. You might be based on buffing himself and debuffing yourself. And this can be useful against other bosses. Like, for example, Black Adam in Rise of Kondak. Rates because he constantly buffs himself. But again, it's something that's kind of too specific, and I'm not sure it's worth slotting in for that purpose alone in a story where it doesn't give you passive stats. Plus 30% damage for specials for each silence debuff inflicted by the wearer. Stacks up to 6 times. So this debuff over here that is silence, you're going to be able to inflict it on and on again. But at the same time, this is going to last only 20 seconds. So it's going to be a bit rough to have all the 6 stats, even at max level. When health drops below 30%, the wearer dispels all negative effects on themselves, tags out, and heals. Okay, this is okay, and this is going to happen up to 2 times per battle. This is fine. This is more like a Champions Arena and Arena thing, because you're not going to put this on your character for this purpose in raids and soul rates. If you have it anyway put in there for other effects, then this is going to be a good bonus, but you're not going to put it for this thing. You're never going to be like, oh, let me put this to make sure that I'm going to revive. You're just going to try to not make mistakes. And if you put this and still make mistakes, you're going to do less damage than you would have died in half the time previously with the damage stealing artifact. Rates an undead clone instead of the wearer with 25% of the health and 70% of the attack. That reflects 75% damage on specials. This is basically a Norse snow globe on steroids, because this clone is going to also reflect damage from specials. So because it reflects 75%, I think how it works is that you're going to take 25% of it and the enemy is going to take the rest of the 75%. So the clones for this are going to be a bit more durable. Most likely will work with Conflant Sakuman clones, Destro clones. You're gonna get that percentage health. But at the same time, we have North Snow Globe, which is free, so not much of a point in getting that for that effect specifically alone. So yeah, a little bit of a weird artifact, does a lot of things, but currently I'm not really able to find that much of a use or that much of a uniqueness to each one of them. Like the first part is kind of useless, and the second part is North Snow Globe, a bit better, but pay to win. Arley's Mallet, 100% chance to stun for 6 seconds on opponent's tagging, and you're gonna get 160% damage to stun opponents. The damage buff is nothing, 160 is bullshit, just use Crown, and applying stun to opponents that tagging. Look, this is gonna be an Arena and Champions or an artifact, so I personally don't really care about it too much. If you do, that's fine, it's gonna be most likely pretty decent. Bro, this makes me even less likely to want to play CA ever again. Imagine playing CA and all the opponents have Joker's passive and they also get bonus damage while your stunts. Imagine a League of Arc where each character has one of those. Nah, bro. Next up, Neon Knife. 85% chance to perform random special for free after tagging. Okay, I might as well pay power bars for my special, thank you very much. Specials destroy all active shields and barriers. Again, it's gonna be very, very situational. It's very rarely that the enemy has a shield or barrier that you need to destroy. Successful special decrease the opponent's defense and steal block effectiveness by 10%, stack up to 10 times. Whereas block cannot be effective more than 75%. So you're going to steal some block effectiveness. Look, if the enemy is blocking when you're hitting them, you shouldn't be hitting them in the first place. Defense reduction is fine. And you're going to get some power bars when you break a shield or barrier. Again, unless they have some crazy shielded bosses that you need to constantly break the shield of, in this alright, this is useless. Sound of Robbing King. Apply stun for 3 seconds after successful blocking of a special, and it's gonna give you additional stun duration. Now, the stun duration is not gonna be the worst thing in the world, because you're gonna have characters that want the enemy stunned, like Harbor Harley Quinn, for example. But at the same time, you're most likely gonna get more damage just by having more passive stats in that specific soul rate, rather than having an increased stun. And this is the lowest passive stat artifact. So for example, we have a League of Anarchy Team Rights, we have Arkham Knight Batman, Harley, and Entangling Poison Ivy. You would want this artifact in theory on Arkham Knight Batman to get longer stuns for Harley. But you're most likely gonna get more damage with shorter stuns, but if you put one of those artifacts over here that give you 32k attack instead of 11k attack. So yeah, I think this is honestly garbage. Again, it might be useful in the Arena and Champion this arena, but nah, bro, this is filler. Atesbim. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's going to give you 100% gear set bonus efficiency. The gear set is literally the gear set. When you click on the gears, it's gonna say gear set bonuses. And that's garbage. That's almost giving you nothing. And those gear effects, if they give you attack or health, it's gonna be a very minuscule value compared to what you already have. And if it gives you crit chance and crit damage, you're most likely gonna have them already maxed out and not rely on this artifact. And gear is effect disabling immunity. I don't know, bro. Against bosses that disable gears for a specific character, you're just going to use another character over there. Usually, because if you have to put this artifact on them, they're gonna deal less damage, and they're still not gonna be worth using there. Or use Skinflint Sakura and Nora Snow Globe, and you don't care about your gears getting disabled, so I don't really find any use for this artifact too. Filler trash. Toxic Bomb. Spams the toxic hazard with 150% of the wearer's attack, stat for 9 seconds, every 2 successful special. And it's going to reduce the opponent's defense by 15% while they are in the toxic hazard. Yeah, this is like 10% effectiveness of the free artifact. This is again garbage filler, so that when we spend money, we can get this, and it's gonna be like, oh, congratulations, you got nothing, or at the very least just some materials. And Mortal Coil inflicts burn for 18 seconds after spending 7 power bars. And it's gonna be a 35% chance for basic and swipes to become lethal against burned opponents. If you need lethals, you're gonna put them on the build. If you need burning, you're also gonna get power drain from the Sword of Sin. So this is yet again filler garbage. Yeah, overall, I don't really care about any of the artifacts so far, other than the Scythe, the Trinity Rings, and maybe the Particle Accelerator and Anti-Living Seeds, maybe. Though the Scythe and the Trinity Rings are gonna be the things that I'm going to be looking out for, and the Trinity Rings are most likely gonna be the best one. They are gonna be absolutely insane if the enemy doesn't spam jump attack, and even if they do, we'll find some use out of them. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it, subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye!